My stepmom dumped me at a motel when I was 16. She threw me a trash bag and sneered, "Survive like the worthless rat you are." Inside were only rusty cans and a broken lighter. I spent 3 weeks living behind the ice machine. 10 years later, she found me and sent a voice message. "Please, just tell me where you are, baby," she begged. "I'm your mother," she said, her voice cracking. I just laughed because she realized what I had done. I still remember the exact time, 4:37 p.m. on a Tuesday in November. The digital clock in the motel office flickered, missing segments in the numbers. I stared at it while Lucy parked her Camry next to the ice machine. The engine was still running. This wasn't the first time she dragged me somewhere without explanation. Since Dad died 8 months before, something felt different. The way she wouldn't look at me scared me. The trash bag sat in the backseat, heavy and ominous. Dad used to joke that Lucy was the best thing after his divorce. "Finally found someone who can put up with my sorry ass," he'd say, winking at me. I never liked her much, but I played along for him. Lucy turned off the radio mid-song and stared at the vacancy sign. The end was burned out, glowing faintly. We hadn't spoken during the entire 40-minute drive. Finally, she looked at me, but not in the eyes, never in the eyes. "I need you to get out," she said, calm as if asking for milk from the store. I didn't move, thinking it was a weird joke. Then she grabbed the trash bag and tossed it onto my lap. It was heavy, smelling faintly of metal. "This is where you live now," she said. "Survive like the worthless rat you are." After Dad's funeral, Lucy changed. It started with small things, moving my stuff to the smaller bedroom. She accidentally threw out photos of Mom. She complained to friends about the burden of raising someone else's kid. I heard everything through the vents in our thin walls. When I still didn't move, she leaned across me. She pushed open my door and started screaming. Full-on psycho screaming about how she never wanted a stepson. The house was hers now, she said. Dad's insurance money wouldn't support a useless teenager. People watched from their motel rooms. A guy smoked by the vending machine, staring. No one did anything. I grabbed the bag and got out, survival instinct kicking in. As soon as my feet hit the pavement, she peeled out. The rubber burned, the smell sticking in my nose for days. I stood there for maybe 20 minutes, brain offline. I held the trash bag, watching the road like she might come back. I imagined her laughing, saying it was a messed up test. The motel office door listed rates, $59.99 a night. I had exactly $7.43 in my pocket. It was November in Michigan, already getting dark. I opened the bag, 3 dented cans with no labels. A lighter with barely any fluid. A wrinkled t-shirt that smelled like the garage. A half-empty bottle of water. And a note. "Your father should have done this years ago." That's when I realized I was truly on my own. The first night behind the ice machine was the worst. The temperature dropped to maybe 40 degrees. The machine's compressor kicked on every 20 minutes. It vibrated the cement wall I pressed against. The exhaust vent blew warm air, the only upside. I tried to open a can with a rock, it took an hour. I cut my hand, but inside was corn, cold, metallic tasting corn. I ate it with my fingers, curled up in that t-shirt. The trash bag was my ground cover. I didn't cry, I was too numb. By morning, I had a plan. Walk 3 miles back to civilization. Find a phone, call someone, anyone. Mom had a new family in Arizona. Dad's parents were gone. Lucy had isolated us from neighbors and Dad's friends after he got sick. I remembered Lucy standing in my doorway, junior year. "Your father needs to go to the hospital," she said, worried. Her concern seemed genuine. Crazy how well some people fake emotion. I walked to the gas station down the highway. I asked to use their phone. The clerk, an older guy with a mustache, looked me up and down. Dirty clothes, unwashed, eyes wild from no sleep. "Sorry, kid," he said. "Phone's for paying customers." I bought a 75-cent coffee with my remaining money. I called 911 and explained my situation to the dispatcher. 2 hours later, a cop showed up, Officer Reynolds. He looked tired, but I told him everything. He made some calls. Lucy had already filed a report. She claimed I was out of control, threatened her, stole money, ran away. My word against hers, she had all the paperwork. Guardian, homeowner, grieving widow. Reynolds seemed skeptical but said there wasn't much he could do without proof. He suggested a youth shelter 30 miles away and offered a ride. I refused. I couldn't stand the thought of being institutionalized. I should have taken the ride. Day 3 behind the ice machine, hunger became physical pain. Not just in my stomach, in my head, behind my eyes. It made thinking straight impossible. That's when Raul found me, the motel maintenance guy. He was 50-ish, missing 2 fingers on his left hand. He didn't say much, just looked at my pathetic setup. Trash bag, empty cans, cardboard from the dumpster. He disappeared for 15 minutes. He came back with a sandwich wrapped in wax paper. He also brought a blanket that smelled like cigarettes. "You can't stay here long term," he said. "Manager does room checks, calls cops on homeless people." "I'm not homeless," I said. "Just in between." Raul almost smiled. "That's what we all say, kid." He showed me a better spot behind the laundry room. Steam pipes kept it warmer. He told me which dumpsters had good food thrown out. It wasn't charity, just survival information. Dad taught me to fish when I was 9. "Always have a skill nobody can take from you, Bobby," he said. "Education, know-how, that's yours forever." I wondered what he'd think, seeing me dumpster diving at midnight. By day 7, I had a system. Wake up at 5 a.m. before motel staff arrived. Use the hose behind the building to wash up. Walk to the gas station bathroom to brush my teeth. I used a finger and stolen sugar packets. During the day, I'd hang at the public library. It was warm, with free internet. Librarians didn't ask questions if I was quiet and didn't smell bad. I researched foster care, mostly horror stories. Emancipation laws were complicated. GED programs and resources for homeless teens were limited. Raul sneaked me leftovers from the vending machine guy. Expired chips, dented soda cans, sometimes a real meal. I started doing small jobs around the motel. Picked up trash, swept walkways when the manager wasn't looking. Raul would slip me $5 here and there. It wasn't enough to get ahead, just enough to not die. The rage built slowly, not hot anger that makes you stupid. Cold anger, the kind that sharpens your mind. Every night, curled in that blanket, I thought of Lucy. She was in my house, sleeping in Dad's bed. Spending his money, living the life I should have had. And for what? Because I reminded her Dad had a life before her? By week 3, I had almost $100 saved. Enough for a bus ticket somewhere, anywhere. That's when everything changed. Raul came to my hiding spot at dawn, face serious. "Manager found your setup," he said. "He's calling the cops in an hour. You need to go now." He gave me an ancient flip phone with $20 of prepaid minutes. He also gave me all the cash in his wallet, $63. He said his cousin in Detroit might have work for me. I tried to thank him. He cut me off. "Just survive, kid," he said. "But remember, how you survive matters. Don't let her turn you into something you're not." 20 minutes later, I was on a bus heading east. Everything I owned was in that black trash bag. The symbolism wasn't lost on me. Dad's voice echoed from our last hunting trip. "Sometimes life deals you a bad hand, Bobby," he said. "You can't control that, only how you play it." I made a promise on that bus. Not just to survive, but to thrive. To build something from nothing. Someday, I'd make Lucy understand what she'd thrown away. That was 10 years ago. I survived those 3 weeks behind the ice machine. And much more after that. 2 days ago, my phone lit up with a notification. A voice message from Lucy, her voice breaking. "Please, just tell me where you are," she begged. "Baby, please, I'm your mother." If only she knew what I'd set in motion. Her voice message lasted exactly 47 seconds. I've listened to it 17 times now. Not because I missed her. God, no. But hearing her sound so broken was weirdly satisfying. Lucy, who tossed me away like trash, now cracked on "baby." As if she had any right to that word. The desperation in, I'm your mother, the audacity. At Dad's funeral, Lucy sobbed dramatically for the cameras. He was my everything, she kept saying. Meanwhile, I couldn't approach the casket. She stood there like a guard dog, territorial in grief. The bus from the motel took me to Detroit, November 2015. I was 17, with less than $100. Raoul's cousin's number was scribbled on a napkin. Detroit in winter is a special kind of hell when you're broke. The wind off the river cuts like it's personal. I stayed in a youth shelter for 3 weeks. It smelled like bleach and sadness. I shared a room with 4 other guys. One had knife scars across his face. Another talked to people who weren't there. But I had a bed, a shower, 3 meals a day. Raoul's cousin, Miguel, never called back, number disconnected. December 9th, I got my first job. Washing dishes at a diner, no ID required. 10-hour shifts, hands always pruned, smelling like old eggs. $5 an hour, cash under the table. I slept in the break room some nights when the shelter was full. Dad taught me to fix a sink when I was 12. Always know the value of hard work, Bobby, he said. Work smart, not just hard, that's the real secret. By spring, I had enough saved for a room. It was a converted closet with a twin mattress on the floor. But it was mine, with a door that locked. Wi-Fi password was on a post-it in the kitchen. That's when I started digging. Public libraries are amazing with time and determination. County records, property deeds, obituaries. It took 3 months to piece it together. Dad's will left everything split between Lucy and me. The house, his savings, the life insurance. I was supposed to get a trust for college, accessible at 21. But Lucy filed papers saying I'd run away, was untraceable. A judge declared me abandoned. My inheritance, every penny, went to her. The house I grew up in, Dad's 15-year mortgage, sold. 8 months after she dumped me, she pocketed over $200,000. When I found those documents online, I threw up in the library bathroom. Not sadness, pure, unfiltered rage. Summer 2016, I worked 2 jobs. Diner mornings, gas station nights. Got my GED between shifts. Scored high enough for a partial scholarship to community college. Made a friend, Eli, a computer science major. Gaming addict with insomnia, he didn't mind 3 a.m. hangouts. He showed me how to track people online. Lucy had moved to Florida, bought a condo, called herself a lifestyle coach on social media, posted beach pics and quotes about leaving toxicity behind. The irony nearly broke my brain. Dad and I fished at the lake when I was 14. What separates winners from losers, he asked. It's not being smarter or stronger, it's patience. Waiting for the right moment. Most people give up right before they'd succeed. I waited, worked, studied, saved. By 2018, I had an associate's degree. I learned enough about financial systems to know what to do. Not for revenge, I told myself, for justice. Found a decent roommate situation. Met a girl, Sarah, an accounting student. Smart, funny, she kept me grounded when I'd spiral into Lucy hatred. We dated 8 months before I told her everything. I expected her to think I was pathetic. Instead, she helped me set up my first investment account. Sarah and I didn't last, she got a job across the country. But her plan stuck with me. January 2020, I made my first real move. Found Terrence, a guy who bought distressed debt. Not exactly legal, not exactly illegal, gray area. Lucy had a spending problem. 5 maxed out credit cards. Her condo mortgage was underwater after a hurricane. Her lifestyle coaching business was failing. She was terrible with people. Terrence helped me buy one of her smaller credit card debts. $3,000, meaningless in the grand scheme. But it was a start. I didn't contact her or try to collect, just waited. Let the interest grow, added it to my spreadsheet. Rat fun. Dad's voice, the best revenge is success, Bobby. Live well, that drives people crazier than anything. But I wasn't that noble, never claimed to be. 2021 to 2022 were grind years. Remote data entry by day, food delivery at night. The pandemic helped, contactless tips were good if you were reliable. I bought 2 more of Lucy's debts. Started an LLC with Sarah's help before she left. Nothing flashy, just a corporate entity to buy properties and debts. Found Lucy's mortgage through a specialty broker. It was in pre-foreclosure, she'd missed 4 payments. The lender was motivated to sell. It cost nearly everything I'd saved for 7 years. Worth it. October 2023, Lucy posted about financial hardship. She blamed unfair banking practices, launched a fundraiser. It made exactly $87. The internet forgets people who aren't interesting. I watched her sell her car, then her designer bags. She started spiritual cleaning services for cash. Meanwhile, I kept working, saving, acquiring her financial life. My LLC owned her mortgage, 2 credit card debts, a personal loan. All legal, all above board, just business. June 2024, the foreclosure went through. Not because I pushed, I granted extensions when she asked. But Lucy couldn't manage money. The condo went to auction, nobody bid. The market was still recovering. My LLC bought it for less than half what she'd paid. 1 week later, Lucy was served eviction papers. Not from me directly, a property management company handled it. Standard procedure, nothing personal. Except it was, all of it. 3 days ago, her voice message came. "Please, just tell me where you are, baby," she said. "I'm your mother." She found my number through a mutual connection. Someone from Dad's old life saw me in a group photo online. Small world, social media. I sat in my apartment, 1 bedroom, decent water pressure. Windows that actually open. I listened to her beg, the woman who'd called me a worthless rat. Texted Eli. He tracked her location from the message metadata. She was at a motel, not the same one, but similar. Budget place off the interstate. I booked a flight for tomorrow. I called the motel and paid for her room for 1 more week. Anonymously, not kindness, necessity. I needed her there when I arrived. 10 years of planning, working, waiting. Tomorrow, I'd walk into that motel. I'd knock on her door and hand her a black trash bag. Inside, 3 dented cans, a broken lighter, a note. But I'd also bring the paperwork. Mortgage documents, credit card debts, foreclosure papers. Eviction notice, the deed to her condo. All with my LLC's name, my signature. I wanted her to know the worthless rat didn't just survive. I dismantled her life, piece by piece, year by year. I'm not proud of the darkness I've carried. But tomorrow, I'd finally set it down. Motel rooms smell the same everywhere. Industrial cleaner, cigarettes, desperation. Standing outside room 118, I caught the scent through the door. I was 16 again, hands steady despite a decade of planning. It was 8:17 a.m. I'd been standing for 6 minutes. Black trash bag in my left hand, manila folder in my right. A morning talk show blared inside, fake laughs echoing. I knocked 3 times, sharp, deliberate. The TV volume dropped, footsteps approached, hesitant. The peephole darkened, then silence, 17 seconds. The door opened, not the dramatic moment I'd imagined. Lucy stood there in a faded t-shirt and sweatpants. Hair in a messy ponytail, no makeup, dark circles under her eyes. She looked ordinary, older, tired. Her Florida tan had faded to a sickly yellow. She didn't recognize me at first, started to mention housekeeping. Then she saw my eyes, Dad's eyes. Her hand went to her mouth, holding back a sound. Dad's birthday, 3 months before he got sick. Lucy made a show of the cake she'd bought. "I know your favorite is carrot cake," she said, smiling for photos. His favorite was German chocolate, always had been. I knew it, she didn't. "Bobby," she said, her voice cracking on the second syllable. She stepped back, instinctive, like prey sensing a predator. I didn't speak, just let her take me in. 6 feet, shoulders filled out, not the skinny teen she could bully. The trash bag swung slightly at my side. "Can I hug you?" she asked, arms already moving. I stepped back, just enough. Her arms dropped, her eyes flicked to the bag. Recognition hit, the same black trash bag from a decade ago. Her face twisted, a mask that didn't fit anymore. "I knew you'd make it," she said. Always so resourceful, so smart, just like your father. Christmas morning, Dad's still alive but sick. Lucy complained about my attitude problem. I opened her gift, a pack of socks. Her pile of presents from him took up half the living room. You should be grateful, she hissed. Some kids get nothing. The motel room was depressingly familiar. Standard double beds, TV bolted to the dresser. Coffee maker missing its carafe. Lucy's belongings were neatly arranged. Designer makeup bag on the bathroom counter. Clothes hung in the open closet. Phone charging next to a half-eaten protein bar. Signs of someone pretending this was temporary. Not rock bottom, just a setback. I finally spoke, my voice distant. Rooms paid through next week, I said. Her eyes widened. That was you? I nodded, set the trash bag on the nearest bed. Unfolded the documents, laid them out one by one. Mortgage paperwork, credit card statements, foreclosure notice, eviction papers, property deed. All with my LLC's name, my signature. Lucy stared, confusion turning to disbelief, then horror. You, she whispered. It was you. All of this. I nodded again. She sat heavily next to the trash bag. Her hand pressed to her chest, holding her heart in place. Why? She asked. Just why? I almost laughed at the audacity. Because you left me in a place just like this, I said. With nothing but trash. The day after Dad's funeral, Lucy went through his closet. She tossed his clothes into donation bags. I asked to keep his fishing jacket from our lake trips. She said no, claimed she'd promised it to someone. I found it a week later in the trash, stained with coffee grounds. Lucy's face cycled through emotions. Shock, anger, fear. Finally, calculation. I didn't have a choice, she said. Your father left us with so many debts, medical bills. I was drowning. A lie, I'd seen the insurance statement. The paid-off mortgage, the retirement accounts. I tapped the paper showing Dad's life insurance payout. $350,000, deposited to her account. 3 weeks before she abandoned me. She tried another angle. You were so angry after he died, she said. Uncontrollable, breaking things, threatening me. I was scared for my safety. Another lie, I'd been quiet, withdrawn, grieving. The motel room felt smaller, air conditioning rattling. An ice machine hummed outside, full circle. Lucy's eyes darted to the door, flight instinct kicking in. What do you want? She asked. Money? I don't have any. You made sure of that. I shook my head, picked up the trash bag, held it out to her. She didn't take it, just stared. Open it, I said. Her hands trembled as she reached for the bag. She pulled it open, looked inside. 3 dented cans with no labels. A lighter with barely any fluid. A wrinkled, half-empty bottle of water. And a note. She pulled it out, read it aloud, voice hollow. Survive like the worthless rat you are. Her own words, from 10 years ago. Something broke behind her eyes, the mask falling completely. I was wrong, she whispered. I know that now. I've paid for it every day. Please, we can fix this. We're family. Dad in the hospital, final days, morphine confusion. He held my hand weakly. Take care of each other, he mumbled. Promise me. Lucy nodded, tearfully beside him. I squeezed his hand, both of us lying to a dying man. I gathered my documents, straightened my jacket, looked around the motel room one last time. You have a week here, I told her. Paid in full. What happens after is up to you. She stood, grabbed my arm, nails digging in. You can't just leave me here, she said. I have nowhere to go, no money, nothing. I gently removed her hand. Looked her in the eyes for the first time. Now you know how it feels, I said. Her face crumpled, not prettily. Real despair isn't photogenic. What am I supposed to do? She asked. How am I supposed to survive? I reached into my pocket, pulled out a small card. Set it on the dresser next to the TV. Raoul's number, I said. The maintenance guy from the motel where you left me. He helped me when no one else would. Maybe he can help you too. I didn't wait for a response. Turned and walked out, closed the door quietly. No dramatic slam, no final words. Eli waited in the rental car outside, windows down. He was scrolling his phone, looked up when I approached. "You good?" he asked. I nodded, not trusting my voice yet. "Worth it?" he asked. I paused, considered it seriously. It didn't feel like I expected. No triumph, no satisfaction. Just emptiness, like lancing a festering wound. Relief, but awareness of the scar left behind. Eli didn't push, just nodded, started the car. As we pulled away, I looked back at the motel. Lucy stood in the doorway of room 118. Trash bag clutched to her chest, watching me leave. Just like I'd watched her drive away 10 years ago. The symmetry should have felt perfect, it didn't. 3 days later, back in my apartment, life resumed. Dishes in the sink, bills to pay. Neighbor's dog barking at 6 a.m. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Thank you for Raul's number," it read. "He's letting me clean rooms for cash, plus a place to stay. I know you don't owe me anything, but I'd like to talk someday, when you're ready. If you're ever ready." I set the phone down without responding. Opened my laptop, logged into my banking app. The LLC that owned Lucy's debts and property still existed. One click, and I could start foreclosure on the condo. Take the last thing she might recover. My cursor hovered over the button. Dad's voice in my head. "The measure of a man isn't how hard he can hit, Bobby. It's whether he can walk away when hitting feels good but isn't right." I closed the laptop without clicking. Went to make coffee. Maybe someday I'd respond to her text. Maybe not. The power was in the choice. I wasn't that desperate 16-year-old anymore. Lucy would rebuild her life somehow, or she wouldn't. That wasn't my responsibility. For 10 years, revenge was my North Star, my purpose. Now I needed to figure out who Bobby was without it. The coffee machine beeped. Outside, the sun was rising, another day. The rest of my life. For the first time in a decade, I felt light. Not happy exactly, just unburdened. Revenge isn't a dish best served cold. It's best not served at all. But damn, it felt good to throw away the recipe.